have this bag of chocolates in my craft room along with this huge, ridiculous pile of cardboard boxes I've been saving for a week or more with a plan. And hiding in one of these boxes, I also have, here they are, these refillable baubles. Over on Instagram, I was sent a Christmas vending machine, and so I have this bag of chocolates I am going to stuff and create an advent calendar. I have Santa elves, a couple of bags of, I'm pretty sure one of those is a substitute actually. I have some raspberry licorice. I've got some Christmas chocolate balls. I don't even know what they're called. They're red and green and they're chocolatey and they feel semi-Christmassy. So I have mini Chupa Chups. I've got the popping corn elves. I've got some candy canes. I've got some baubles. Lots of goodies. And these are going to go inside the bauble. And I'm going to use some of these boxes to make a vending machine. What I want to do is actually fill the baubles. So I am going to grab those and let's go through and fill them up, and then I can get a better feel for how they're going to fit together. I am a bit worried some of these things are going to be too big, so I will need to come up with a plan. Let's open these up and get them filled. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go. There's a cute little organza bag. Obviously they're packed inside each other, and so they don't take up all that much space, which is fine, but it doesn't help me who needs to visually see what I'm going to do. So I'm going to sort these out. I'm going to put the chocolates in. I might fast forward you because you don't want to hear me talking all the way through 24 baubles by 4 children. So with the easy ones done and a cup of tea had, I think I've come up with plan B for what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put little tokens or something inside the baubles. And so the first thing I am going to try is I have these cute little cotton reels, and I'm hoping the smallest ones might fit neatly in there. So I'm going to dig into my general crafts box, and if I can find them, oh, they're right here on top. That's very handy. So they're not quite as small as I thought they were, but yeah, I don't know. We'll give them a try. They might fit. So we'll just grab 4 of these little ones. It's going to be tight, I think. So let's try. Fit them in there, wriggle, wriggle, and grab a lid. And they actually fit. So that works really well. Okay. So the question is, am I going to have enough? So I'm going to pop that in the collection and let's count them out. And again, I'm going to put you on fast forward while I stack as many baubles as I can with cotton reels. So close. I only have 3 left, but what I do have in here as well is this bag left over from last year. It was a Woolies bag with this cute print, and so I'm wondering if I can cut out these motifs, like 4 of them in each one, and add it to the thing, and possibly to fill it out, up here I have this red tissue paper. So if I stuff it with tissue paper and then put these around the outside. So I'm just going to cut 4 and see how this works. And then I can grab some of my tissue paper, and I'm just thinking if I get like half a sheet and scrunch it up, if it wants to rip, then that could go like inside. I can put the pictures in there. I'm wondering if I can just like sit them in there without having to glue it. I'm going to give that a try. So awkwardly hold it, stuff the tissue paper in to force it to hold. Squish. I'm just going to put the back on. Just I'll stick the back pieces in as well. I don't think this is going to be quite as easy, but it will give me a bit of a feeling for whether the project will work. That's a bit squished down, so I'll just loosen that up a bit. Pop in a Christmas tree. It might be easier if I go onto the tissue paper rather than in the bauble. Make sure it's facing the right way. Not that I think the kids will notice because they're just going to get it out and rip it open. And if I could just squeeze that bit in there, close it up. Clip, 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 clip. Okay, that looks so cute. Perfect. That is definitely what I'm going to do for the remaining baubles. And then they can just crack it open, and there's 4 pictures there so they can redeem that for a lucky dip. So again, fast forward and let's get these made. That's all my baubles, and they're actually fitting in that box really nicely, but the question is it going to be enough space? Because I also need to fit the mechanism in here. I actually think I'm going to need a bigger box. I don't know. Let's see if the turny thing's going to fit. Definitely think this box is going to be the better option. It's just that little bit bigger. It should fit all those balls in. And then this bit of a tube that I've got to be my mechanism gives it a lot more room. So if I fit that in there, because it needs to be up a bit, yeah, I think I'm going to go with this box, because if I try and reel this in, it's just, I can just get it in, but I'm not going to get the height that I need. This is a box, it's nice and solid, and then I've got this box which will be good to pull apart for the mechanism. It's nice thick cardboard, but it's not visually great. So let's move this up to the table and we'll get stuck in and get it made. So with all of those done, I now need to assemble all the inside. So I have this box. This will be the front of it, I think, because that's the best side. So I'm going to have to do it a little bit differently to the tutorial and kind of make the mechanism and then slide it in that way. And then because it's fatter than a bauble, because you only want the mechanism kind of the width of a bauble, I'm going to do a little slope here to keep the balls dropping down that way. That's my theory. I'm wondering whether I can do like something on top. No. That's right. We'll use this box. Grab this. I'm not going to do full instructions because that's somebody else's tutorial. So I will link that in the comments, the tutorial that I'm following, if you want to make your own. And I'm going to get stuck in and get this made. I am using my son's heavy duty X-Acto knives. So he enjoys a lot of this kind of cardboard making. Okay, so this is not working. That's not going to be enough space for all those balls. So I'm back to the same problem. What I could do is leave them in the box they're in and make the window in that, so that this is just the mechanics of it all. So then I can open this top wall. I think will be the best bet. Yeah, so if we make that top there, put that other box on top here, cut that out. So then I'm just going to make this fit in here, which is fine. Marking where the hole needs to be in that part. But I do need to fix this slope still. So let's come back. Another beautiful cardboard cut. So just need to cut a bit of a hole in here. So they'll let's test it before we fancify anything. So to test it, I'm going to just slide these in here. Just gonna make sure that's turned off so I don't lose it straight away. Alright, so they're in. Okay, so the problem is the tube isn't letting them drop. And then they're running out the front because it's not level. That's handy. Okay, it's not quite working to line up. Okay. I'm gonna just pause and troubleshoot for a little bit. Okay, so I've done some troubleshooting. I have played with it. I've opened up the front, I've opened up the top, and I'm not entirely sure I've solved the problem, but we'll give it another try. So I'm going to pop some baubles in here and see if that works. A couple more. All right, let's give it a turn and see what happens. It's getting jammed, that's handy. Yeah, okay, that does not, okay, it's come out, which is a plus, but that feels really frustrating to use. And yeah, it just keeps getting jammed. I can't see the kids enjoying this. What is even going on? Okay, can't get it, yeah. I think this one's going to be a bit of a bust. It just doesn't want to come out. It's right there. I'm not entirely sure this is actually fixable on this stage. I may have to go back to the drawing board and start from scratch, I think. Looking at this, I do have this other box, but it's small. That's why I didn't want it in the first place. What I could do is maybe if I pull all this out and get some more space, I could put it on the top. My other option is, looking at it, if I get the tube, what I could do is maybe come up with another plan, and maybe I could just do like a restock halfway through. Just put in the few baubles, cut the hole in there, fit the tube. Out the side maybe if I do that rather than at the front, which would buy me a bit of extra space. The other boxes I've got aren't solid enough. So if I take this out, because it's just not working and it's driving me crazy, and in theory I've got more patience than the kids. So if I can get this in here like that, and I can maybe pull some of the mechanisms out of here. So they're not all going to fit, but if I put a false floor in it, it might work. But even if I put a false floor where those are, that's not going to be high enough because it's not going to be able to run out of the tube. Right. I need to consider this some more. I think I'm going to walk away before I go insane. I'm going to go have a coffee and let this idea just sit and percolate a little bit and see if something actually viable will fall out. That's what we'll do. Coffee time, and then we'll reassess for plan B. Okay, take 2. I think I've come up with a plan. So I'm going to use the front. I've pulled this out of the other box that I've already tried and failed. So I'm going to trim off most of this. Microphone on the charger, paused it, and forgot to press play again. But anyway, so here's what I've done. I've added that back in there. I've added a sheet straight across there, cut open this where the ball will come out, just because there wasn't enough room there to open up. Put a bit of board at the back there as well, and then I've retaped this box. I have tested it and it does seem to work. So now I need to cut a little trapdoor in the top here, and then I get to decorate it. So I'm not entirely sure quite yet what I'm going to do with that, but the original had a door here, so I might, like a window there, so I may do that. Yeah, that'll be the fun bit. We'll see what we can come. I need to cover that. So maybe if I do that, cut a window to take that out as well, and then I can just use like a white Posca pen to do some decorations. Obviously rub those out, and yeah, maybe make it gingerbread style like the original. I'm not sure. Or maybe I'll make it look like a present. That could be cute. And then I could put like a big bow on the top where the trapdoor is when I restock it. And then I just need to work out what to do here. Or I could do a big bow there as the turning part. That's a good idea. Let's do that. So that's my next step. Cut this out, cut in a trapdoor, get it decorated. Oh, that has come up so cute. That's awesome. Thank you for joining today's adventures. I will be back tomorrow with another, hopefully more productive video.